Most people think sleep problems start with stress, age, or just a busy mind. But what if I told you that's only the surface story? Because in reality, many adults over 35 are doing everything right. Going to bed early, cutting caffeine, even using sleep apps. Yet still waking up exhausted, foggy, and still not recovering. Even more surprising, some of the most common sleep advice, like simply relax more or avoid screens, doesn't fix the deeper issue happening inside your nervous system, hormones, and metabolism. And if this hidden even if you've struggled for years. In this video, I'm going to break down 7 quietly influence your brain every single night. Some of them will surprise you. Some will completely change how you think about sleep. And one of them might explain exactly why your body refuses to fully rest, even when you're exhausted. Let's start with what's really happening behind the scenes. For many people, sleep problems don't feel serious at first. You might think it's just a phase, a stressful month, or something that will fix itself. But what actually happens over time is much more subtle and far more damaging. Imagine someone in their late 40s or early 60s. They fall asleep easily, but wake up 3-4 hours later for no clear reason. They scroll their phone for a bit, fall back asleep, and assume it's normal. Then the mornings start to change. They don't feel refreshed anymore. Coffee becomes necessary just to feel human. Their patience shortens. Small tasks feel heavier, and slowly, they stop recognizing their own energy levels. What they don't realize is that fragmented sleep is silently changing how the brain restores itself. During deep sleep, your brain performs something like overnight maintenance, repairing neural connections, clearing waste chemicals, and stabilizing emotional processing. When that process is disrupted, the brain starts carrying unfinished recovery into the next day. And here's the key point. Most people adapt to this decline without noticing it's happening. They don't feel sick. They just feel slightly off every single day. Over weeks and months, that slightly off becomes the new normal. Blood sugar becomes harder to regulate. Stress hormones stay higher in the evening, and the body starts losing its natural rhythm. This is why sleep issues matter more than most people's half-recovered state every single night. And what's causing this shift is not always obvious. That's where the hidden mechanism becomes important. To understand deep sleep, you need to understand that your body runs on a precise internal timing system. Think of it like a 3-layer control network. Your brain, your hormones, and your nervous system all negotiating when to rest and when to stay alert. When everything is aligned, you fall into deep sleep naturally. But when one part becomes disrupted, the entire system becomes unstable. One major factor is the balance between your alert chemistry and your rest chemistry. During the day, chemicals like cortisol and dopamine keep you focused and awake. At night, these are supposed to drop, while melatonin and GABA rise, signaling your brain to power down. But modern life often keeps alert chemistry elevated far too long into the evening. Late meals, emotional stress, constant notifications, irregular light exposure. These all send mixed signals to your brain. Your nervous system begins to think, it's still daytime. So instead of switching fully into rest mode, your brain stays partially alert even while you're asleep. Now here's where it becomes even more interesting. Deep sleep is controlled by slow brainwave cycles, almost like electrical waves calming down across the brain. But if your system is overloaded with stress signals, those waves become fragmented. It's similar to trying to turn off a computer while background programs are still running. It doesn't shut down cleanly. This is also why some people wake up at the same time every night. It's not random. It's often tied to internal stress rhythms, blood sugar fluctuations, or nervous system activation patterns. Another overlooked factor is metabolic load at night. If your body is still digesting heavy food late in the evening, your internal temperature and insulin response remain active. That alone can prevent deep restorative sleep cycles. So what looks like bad sleep is actually a coordination problem between multiple systems trying and failing to switch modes at the right time. Across sleep research and clinical observation, one pattern shows up repeatedly. Most chronic sleep issues are not caused by lack of sleep time, but by reduced sleep quality, especially deep sleep and REM balance. In many sleep studies, adults who report 8 hours of sleep but still tired often show fragmented deep sleep cycles on monitoring devices. Instead of long, uninterrupted restorative phases, their sleep is broken into shallow cycles that don't fully restore brain and hormonal function. Clinicians also observe that improving sleep depth often has a stronger impact on energy, mood, and metabolism than simply increasing sleep duration. One interesting finding is how strongly evening routines affect sleep architecture. Light exposure, late meals, and mental stimulation all influence how quickly the brain transitions into slow-wave sleep. Even small disruptions can delay this process significantly. Another consistent observation comes from metabolic research. Blood sugar instability during the night can trigger micro-awakenings that people don't even remember. These interruptions prevent the brain from completing full recovery cycles. There's also growing evidence that the nervous system plays a larger role than previously thought. When the body remains in a mild stress state, what researchers sometimes call low-grade sympathetic activation, deep sleep becomes harder to sustain. What's important here is not any single study, but the combined pattern. When stress load, metabolic activity, and sensory input are reduced before bed. At the same time, experts caution that sleep problems can also signal underlying conditions like thyroid imbalance, sleep apnea, or chronic inflammation. That's why blanket advice often fails. The takeaway from clinical experience is clear. Sleep is not a single switch. It's a layered biological process that depends on multiple systems working together in sync. And when they don't, the body gives subtle signals long before full insomnia develops. Most people don't realize their sleep is declining until it becomes obvious. But the body actually sends early warning signals, quiet ones that are easy to ignore. One of the most common signs is waking up tired but functional. You get through the day, but there's a constant background fatigue that never fully clears. Another subtle sign is needing more stimulation than usual, more caffeine, more sugar, more screen time, just to feel normal energy levels. This often reflects an underlying recovery deficit in the nervous system. You might also notice that your mood becomes less stable in small ways. Slight irritability, lower patience, or feeling emotionally flat for no clear reason. This often connects directly to incomplete brain restoration during sleep. Some people experience a strange pattern of waking up between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. without obvious cause. While occasional awakenings are normal, repeated patterns can suggest stress hormone imbalance or blood sugar shifts during the night. There's also the issue of mental fog that shows up mid-morning. You might sleep for several hours, but still struggle to think clearly until later in the day. That delay is often a sign that deep sleep cycles were not fully completed. Another overlooked symptom is difficulty switching off at night. Even when you're physically tired, your mind stays active. This usually reflects a nervous system that hasn't fully transitioned from alert mode to rest mode. And here's something many people miss: feeling wired again in the evening after a tired day. That second wind is often a stress response rebound, not true energy. When you connect these patterns together, a clear picture emerges. The body is resting, but not fully recovering. And once you recognize that, the next step becomes very practical: restoring those missing biological switches. The good news is that sleep depth can often be improved without complicated interventions. The goal is not to force sleep, but to restore the conditions your body already understands biologically. Start with your evening timing. One of the most powerful changes is shifting your last heavy meal earlier. When digestion is still active late at night, your body remains in a metabolic processing state, which competes directly with deep sleep signals. A lighter evening meal, ideally 2 to 3 hours before bed, allows your system to transition more smoothly into rest mode. Next is light exposure. Your brain uses light as a timing signal more than most people realize. Bright artificial light at night delays melatonin release. Even if you feel tired, your internal clock may still be set to daytime mode. Dimming lights in the last hour before bed helps your brain naturally begin the shutdown sequence. Now consider your nervous system. Many people go to bed with their mind still in problem-solving mode. Instead of trying to force relaxation, you can guide the system down gradually. Simple routines like slow breathing, gentle stretching, or even sitting quietly without stimulation for 10-15 minutes can signal safety to the brain. Temperature also plays a role. Your body needs a slight drop in core temperature to enter deep sleep efficiently. A cooler sleeping environment, or even a warm shower before bed, which triggers cooling afterward, can support this transition. Another often overlooked factor is caffeine timing. Even if you stop drinking coffee in the afternoon, some people remain sensitive well into the evening. This can subtly reduce deep sleep quality without obvious insomnia. Adjusting timing earlier in the day can make a noticeable difference. Hydration balance matters too. Both dehydration and excess fluid before bed can interrupt sleep cycles. The goal is steady hydration during the day, not compensation at night. Some individuals benefit from magnesium-rich foods or supplements, especially if muscle tension or restless sleep is present. However, this should be approached carefully and personalized. Finally, consistency is key. Your sleep system responds more to rhythm than perfection. Going to bed and waking up at similar times helps rebuild the internal clock that governs deep sleep cycles. When these factors are aligned, the body doesn't need to be forced into sleep. It naturally falls into it. While these strategies are generally supportive, it's important to recognize that sleep issues are not identical for everyone. For older adults, especially those over 60, changes in sleep architecture are natural. Deep sleep may decrease slightly with age, so expectations should be realistic. The focus should be on improving quality, not chasing perfect sleep every night. For individuals with diabetes or blood sugar instability, nighttime fluctuations can significantly affect sleep depth. In these cases, dietary timing and medical guidance become especially important. People with thyroid conditions may also experience sleep disruption due to altered metabolism and temperature regulation. These cases often require medical evaluation rather than lifestyle changes alone. If someone is dealing with chronic anxiety or long-term stress, the nervous system may remain in a heightened state even at night. In such cases, calming techniques need to be consistent and gradual rather than intense. Those with heart conditions, sleep apnea, or unexplained nighttime breathing issues should not rely solely on behavioral strategies. These symptoms need proper clinical assessment. Medication use is another factor. Certain blood pressure medications, antidepressants, or stimulants can influence sleep depth. Adjustments should always be discussed with a healthcare provider. The key message here is simple. Personalization matters. Sleep is deeply connected to your individual biology, health conditions, and lifestyle patterns. So instead of forcing a one-size-fits-all solution, the goal is to understand your own signals and work with your body, not against it. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Deep sleep is not random, and it's not just about time in bed. It's a coordinated biological process involving your brain, hormones, nervous system, and metabolism working together in rhythm. When that rhythm is disrupted, you don't just feel tired, you lose true recovery. But when you restore even environment and routine can begin to reverse that pattern. The goal is not perfection, it's consistency and awareness. If this explanation helped you understand your sleep in a new way, leave a comment and share what part resonated most with your experience. Your feedback also helps others realize they're not alone in this. If you know someone struggling with poor sleep, share this with them. It might help them connect the dots they've been missing. And make sure to subscribe, because in the next video, we'll explore how morning habits silently determine your energy levels for the entire day, and why most people get it completely wrong. Before we end, there's something important to understand about sleep that most people never fully accept. Sleep is not a switch you turn on at night. It is a reflection of how your entire day is structured. If your nervous system stays overstimulated during the day, it doesn't magically reset at bedtime. If your metabolism is overloaded late in the evening, your brain doesn't instantly shift into deep recovery. And if your internal rhythm is inconsistent, your sleep will also remain inconsistent, no matter how carefully you try to fix the night itself. This is why so many people get stuck. They focus only on the bed instead of the 24-hour system that controls sleep in the first place. But once you understand this, everything becomes simpler. Not easier, but clearer. Because now you're no longer guessing. You start noticing patterns, how your evenings affect your nights, how your stress levels shape your sleep depth, and how small daily choices either support or interrupt your brain's natural recovery process is often what changes everything. Because when your sleep improves, it doesn't just give you rest, it gives you your energy, clarity, mood, and long-term health back.